Thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers here on YouTube. We are super happy you're all here, and thank you for your comments and feedback and of course your support of Rapid Flow. On this video, I wanted to share you something special. A few months ago, I did a video on all the S-level gear, S-tier gear in my studio below 500 euros. This is going to be a video about the high end, the really expensive, really cool stuff in the studio that I think makes a massive impact. So if you're into a high-end gear or are looking to go that way, let's dive into it. All right, so I'm gonna take you with me and walk you through the studio and the things that are, I think, most important and just sick. And of course, we're going to start with the Rupert Neve Design's Master Bus processor. This thing is, in a word, magic. We have actually a dedicated video I just made on it, and we're gonna link it here, and I'm sure we're releasing it this week also. So if you want to know why this is the first piece of gear on the list, go check out that video. It's in detail. I show you everything about it. But in a nutshell, anything you send into this thing sounds immediately polished, professional, compacted, beautiful, organic. I was on a deadmau5 live stream a little while back, and he has one of these strapped across his output also. Yeah, I just hit it very lightly and just compress a little, add some widening, add normally a little bit of this red sheen. And yeah, it's in a word amazing. It is one of the most impactful yet subtle machines that I've ever heard, where when you take it out, you're like, it doesn't sound all that different. And then you really start to listen in detail and you're like, whoa, where did all the warmth and the polish and the smoothness and the high frequencies go? It's amazingly transparent as a limiter. Yeah, beautiful machine, insanely expensive. But I'm so happy I found one used actually back in the day in Switzerland and got a great deal on it. The second thing, and that is immediately top of mind, that I want to show to you, which is an essential cornerstone of the studio and with which putting those kinds of devices in line on my masters and mixes would not be worth it, is these Prism Orpheus converters. I have videos on the channel where I explain why the combination of the PreSonus Quantum with these converters, or one of these converters, is such a great idea. In essence, these guys are connected to this guy via ADAT. Because these are firewire converters, they don't really work with much stuff anymore. But if you run them in their dedicated ADAT mode and send them a clock signal from something like the Quantum, they work and sound exactly as they always have. And they're amazing. And they're reasonably affordable for 8-in, 8-out master grade converters. And yeah, the difference of putting something like the Neve onto your mix bus while you're producing in Ableton through a reasonable mid-level converter or a high-end converter, something like that, or a Mytech or maybe a high-end Apogee, it's big. Like, I don't really think it's worth getting into these kind of nuances of high-end gear if the converters you're using to go in and out of the DAW are not at a really good level. You lose more in the conversion than you'll gain from the machine. It's a little bit mean, but yeah, you know the hack now. These Prism Orpheus converters, I bought some for 700 euros, and yeah, like the PreSonus is like 300-400 used, so it's kind of in reach. Yeah, but make sure that if you're going to go this path, then yeah, having a really good converter is essential. The next thing that I have to say is, I consider it high-end and I consider it a part of the studio, is my MacBook Pro. This is an M1 Max. I've been just kind of reinstalling and fixing up and changing ports on this thing along the way. Now, I need to upgrade it at some point, but as you may know, there's massive issues right now accessing Apple Studios, which is what I think is the next thing I want to do. I want to get maybe an M2 Ultra, maybe used. That may be a way to do it. But in any case, I got this thing when the M2s came out, so again, I got it a bit cheaper. It has 64 gigs of RAM. This is the brain of Rapid Flow, and even though back in the day I spent about 3K on it, it is the best investment I've ever made, because this thing manages everything. And in combination with this CalDigit Thunderbolt 4 dock, which just kind of pipes a lot of extra outputs out of this machine to connect all kinds of stuff, cameras, whatever to it. Very important little bit. This thing is high end also from my point of view, because it's like $600 I think I spent on it. The next one I want to show you is the APB Dynasonics ProRack 1020. This thing was an upgrade from a Mackie 1604 that I had that didn't sound bad, but once I started using this thing, I knew why this machine or this mixer, I think it cost, I got it kind of on a better deal because it came off of the Super Booth, but it sounds glorious. I have a dedicated video on the channel, huge upgrade, the whole studio is connected to it. I never worry about running sounds through a mixer first by using this. The next is here, the Louder Than Liftoff Silver Bullet. Amazing machine on the output, amazing for tracking. All of the Zensphere sounds were dialed in for the saturation with this. Super good mic pre's also. And yeah, you can insert stuff in here. So I have like a mastering grade compressor in it so I can just squeeze the level a bit. If I put this on my master bus together with the Neve and all of them are doing a little bit of gain reduction, I can get super loud masters basically without any limiting. Really, really nice machine. Very, very happy to have it. And while we're on the topic of Louder Than Liftoff, I want to take you to one of the most special and awesome pieces in my studio, and that is these Chop Shop EQs. I got these on a whim used almost 10 years ago, I think maybe in Germany, and my God, these things are good. I know that Brad and the team are making these again with some additional functions when they come out, and if you have 500 series racks, do yourself a favor, just buy them. Just do it. These are by far the most clean, beautiful sounding, versatile EQs for sculpting, for cutting the low end, for cutting hiss in the highs, for doing a tilt EQ on things, for giving a resonant bump. Instrumental in why the Zensphere sounds sound the way they do. Every single synth patch went through this. This was the first thing I think that the chain hit after the mixer, if I'm remembering correctly. I have it written down somewhere. The Audioscape AS78 is another high-end piece that I think is incredible. The vibe and mojo this device can add to anything is just insane, together with the gain control that it can add. I use this these days a lot on the vocal bus, so the entire vocals get compressed through here for the project I'm working on right now with Camille Motto. But also on the master, it's incredible. On synths, it's incredible. This is like kind of in a way somehow feels a bit like the opposite of this. This is very clean and neutral and polished and kind of open and controllable. This is a little bit more wild and kind of like the Mojo bus, and it's great for controlling signals. I mean, it's not like saturated or anything, but it's just like it adds life, and this just kind of balances things in a way. So very nice combination to have in the studio. You're probably wondering, hey man, when are you going to mention the API? I don't use it that much. I sometimes pump bass lines through it. This will change once we start working on our next plugin, because I can divulge a little bit. It's to do with drums, and yeah, that I think will then really come into its power, but at the moment I don't use it a ton. But yeah, amazing on basses, of course, amazing on drums and kicks, but all of my kicks were processed through this at a certain point, and so I don't have it inserted anywhere now because the kicks are done. More high-end gear that I can show you here that I think is, yeah, just very special is the Eventide DSP 4000. I got this because it's the first hardware machine that has the black hole algorithm. And once I tested it against the plugins, I realized actually the plugins sound amazingly good, but I decided to keep it anyway, and actually it's turned out to be super useful. For example, this is the default preset that I use with Camille on her vocals when she's tracking. It adds delay and some reverb and a bit of flanging, super vibey, and it's just so great to have this on a send on the mixer and go straight, no latency to her headphones, etc. Yeah, amazing machine to have, and I'm really, really glad that I got a good deal on this. Yeah, the beautiful Revox tape machine here. It's amazing. It's very high end. It's built like a tank. It sounds incredible when you track synths through it, but it does not get used as much as I probably should. There's even cobwebs here, so I guess that proves my point, because using it is complicated. You have to track a sound to it, then the sound that sounds amazing, but then you have to denoise it in the computer because this has no Dolby or anything, which is great for the quality of the sound, like the originality of it, but it's like a lot of steps. So I used it in making Zensphere. Maybe I'll get back into it now. Let me know in the comments if you want to see a video on how this guy sounds and what it does to bass synths. I mean, a lot of the synths in Zensphere were tracked through it, so I have that character there, but maybe I should do a video and let you listen for yourself, like, you know, the saturation, what it does, especially to bass synths, is amazing. Something that someone pointed out recently is high end, and I did not give any attention to so far, is this chair. This is one of the star players of the studio. It is a human scale freedom, it's called. And I mean, you can imagine I sit in this thing sometimes 10, even 12 hours a day. And actually considering the hours, my back is pretty happy. And I found it for $1,000 from a German reseller new. And it's one of the things I had to think about longest. But I'm so happy that I did, because it just does what a chair should do. It supports you. It forces me somehow to sit straight. I very often sit in it without using the leaning. If you have back problems and if you have the budget, this is absolutely my recommendation for a chair. Something which I felt like I just have to show you because it's kind of expensive for a meter, but it is so useful, is the flux analyzer. And I'm still in a very old version. I just know it inside and out. At a glance, immediately I can tell, is my mix technically looking okay? Is there issues? And like on this, I can tell everything is super cool. Everything is sorted, loudness, frequency distribution, width, balance, left, right, everything is there. And even though this is an expensive tool and it's not as analytical as Adapter AB, it's amazing. And I'm so happy I have it. Highly, highly recommend it. And then closing off, the new Quested, what are they called? H210? Leon, please correct me in the description if I'm wrong. If I'm remembering correctly, it's Quested H210 passive speakers that I got a couple of months ago, basically when I moved into this room. These things are incredible. I was so lucky to find them. They sound so great. I've tuned them a little bit to give them a little bit more subs because they're very clean, very revealing, very mid-focused, even though they're huge. They don't have a massive amount of sub. I've actually ordered a sub from friends of mine from Kali Distribution in Germany, Sonic Sales. And yeah, I will add that to expand the low end. My friend there, Michael, gave me a great deal on a massive Kali sub that has like, I think it's like 700 watts output or something. It's massive. So it'll take the load off the low end of these and basically allow me to put them louder and not have to tune them with EQ so much and just use the sub more for driving the low end in the studio. So in any case, these speakers are incredible. I'm using a great Amphion amp with them. And yeah, that reminds me actually a very important piece to point out is the dangerous source. A couple of weeks ago, I was kind of playing maybe with the idea of replacing this, but I realized for my workflow and the fact that I enter this via SPDIF from the Presonus, and this has incredible converters in it. They're like dangerous, quality, like mastering grade converters. And then from here, I'm going with very high grade cables to the amp. I don't think I could do much better. And neither did my LLM when I pulled it on the idea. Like there isn't much I could replace this with except something like a Avoset or like some very expensive gear that also has converters built into it. But actually for my space here and what I'm doing, which is just, I have one pair of speakers, right? Like I have now simplified to the point where I just want to have one pair and that's what I listen to all the time. This is ideal. And I have a video on the channel why I think this is such a great monitor controller. It's reasonably affordable. It sounds amazing, better than anything I know in this price point. It has a small footprint. You can take it with you. It has a USB connector in a crunch. You can use it as a USB sound card just to mix stuff over. Great headphone preamps, a double routing matrix, 2 outputs, can configure it how you need it. Amazing. Super, super, super cool. Highly, highly recommended. Definitely in the high-end tier also. Looking at the 500 modules, the SPL Big is super, super cool, although I do use that a lot in software also, but it's an amazing machine. It's a big part of some very wide Zensphere pads. Super, super nice. And yeah, the Wes Audio Pultec EQ is also amazing. I use this a ton on basslines when I'm producing. If I am running actually I even put it sometimes behind the Zensphere because it's so easy to just like do some boost in the super deep or in the high frequencies, balance the whole signal a bit here and add in some saturation. Yeah, these are really like the pieces that get used a lot. This is broken. This gets used a little here and there from time to time, but these three here are really the backbone of a lot of the things I do with my sound here in the studio. I obviously have videos on the channel about the synths, so I'm not going to go into them now. This is more about like the outboard gear that I have here. That is the high-end gear here in the studio that, yeah, I would say makes a big difference to the sound. If I would have to recommend you how to upgrade, first of all, monitoring chain and speakers makes a huge difference when you can really hear in detail what's going on in your mix. Then converters. I so personally also underestimated what a difference it made to get the Prism Orpheus converters into my studio. Literally from the day I got these, my job as a sound engineer in the studio became, not exaggerating, 30-40% easier. I process stuff way less. Everything sounds amazing and organic and vibey and real immediately. And yeah, these things are magic. If you can find a pair or one with a Quantum from the first generation, I can highly recommend it. It's kind of a no-brainer. And then from there, I would look for one fat bus processor that could do some compression and stuff, and I give you Mojo and vibes. And yeah, the Master Bus processor is great. The louder than Liftoff Silver Bullet Mark II is great. The Audioscape AS78 is great. I think one of those three machines, without knowing your exact situation, would be one of my recommendations where I would say you can't do no wrong. All right, I hope that this video was fun to see and to get a better overview of, yeah, the gear here in the studio that's in the high end. Again, thank you for the 10K subs. So cool to be on this journey with you, for all of your support of Rapid Flow, all the feedback you're sending us. Yeah, the very kind words on, especially OmniClock now. One of my favorite things is people keep saying, it actually works. They're like, I didn't think this could work, but it actually does, which is super cool to hear. And yeah, we're, as you probably know, taking it a little bit easy during the summer, but I look forward to sharing more music, more live streams with you. And of course, we're gonna be working on new products coming up towards fall. I wish you an amazing summer. I will be posting YouTube videos during the summer regularly when cool ideas for videos come up. And yeah, I wish you an amazing summer break, inspiration in the studio, hopefully not too hot weather, a lot of creativity. All right, I hope you're doing well. Take it easy. Bye-bye.